a palliative care program. Today, as a panelist, we have Dr. Saima Furkan, who is the founder, PAL Care Foundation, Dr. Parul Prinja, consultant and regional head, PAL Care Foundation, Gurugram. And as our expert, we have Mr. JP Dondial, consultant PR for Council of Architecture and former head PR, THDC. And I am Harshita Gujral. I look after public relations for Fortis Hospital, Gurugram. So what exactly is palliative care? It is one subject which is the least talked about, but is of due importance. So though significance and knowledge about palliative care has slowly evolved over the years, however, it really needs emphasis on. So so that we can create awareness in the masses and people who actually need the support of palliative care can actually be helped with it. So to discuss on this, we have our esteemed experts with us, our panelists with us. So now I invite Dr. Saima to tell us what exactly is palliative care.
Thank you, Harshita, and good morning, everyone. First of all, thank you for giving us the opportunity to speak on a topic which is very close to our hearts, especially in the time of lockdown when we were just drowned in the pool of suffering, and there was nothing else we could do. We were feeling a bit of helplessness. So this is when we decided to set up our own organization and work for the people in need. And once you enter this field, then you realize what is actually on ground. And to my shock, so to my shock, I saw that not many people, anyway, we knew that not many people are aware of palliative care, but in Delhi itself, hardly you can say 10 to 20% people I met all through the journey who actually understand what is palliative care. So yeah, thank you for having us here. Yeah, Harshita.
So if you can explain us what exactly is palliative care, because this is one subject that not a lot of people know about.
Absolutely. May I request to share the screen? Like as and when required, I'll share. May I or?
Yes, you may. You may.
I've not been able to share the screen.
So in the meanwhile, you can tell us what do you think about the...
Basically, the word palliative care has come from the Latin word pallium. Pallium means a cloak. Cloak means to cover up, to wrap yourself completely in a cloth from head to toe, right? So this means that the suffering that comes with any sort of disease that is affecting your life. Like for example, somebody is suffering from cancer. A cancer might be a physical suffering, but that is not the only thing that a person is suffering from. There are other aspects also. If I have a lump in my breast, so this is not only the lump that is bothering me. Then there are other things that bothers me as well. My life, whether I'm going to, get cured or not, what will happen to my family and all other things. So there are multiple sufferings that come across with the disease. So palliative care per se is actually the type of care which we provide to anybody for the prevention and treatment of any serious health related suffering in order to improve their quality of life. And when we say the quality of life, it's not only of the patient, but also of the family. That is how we talk about palliative care. So I'll try to share the screen and just like to show you a slide.
So Dr. Saima, tell me, how does it really help the patients and attendants, and why is it that it is so important? Because in the old age, it was only about, treating the patient for a particular disease. So where does palliative care, what role does it play? Why is it of so, why is it so significant in these days?
I tell you, to begin with, if, like, for example, if you take in the recent times, were we actually prepared for the pandemic? We were not. हम लोग अगर आइडियली भी एक सिनेरियो हम देखें जो प्रोग्राम्स का होता है, what we focus more on the diseases that are acute, that are preventable. लाइक हमारा पूरा का पूरा फोकस अगर हॉस्पिटल केयर में भी जाता है तो हम कोई ऐसी बीमारी लेते हैं जिसको हम क्योर कर सकते हैं. हमारा लाइक टोटली if somebody in my family is sick, I will only think about the curative part कि भाई किसी तरीके से ये बीमारी को हम ठीक कर सकें. And when we were hit by the pandemic, especially COVID, when there is no cure, we still do not have any cure for the disease. There were other things that were hitting up. There was a lot of panic around. लोगों को समझ नहीं आ रहा था कि हमें क्या करना चाहिए. जो information share हो रही थी, we are still not, completely well versed with the coronavirus per se. कि ये है क्या. अभी तक भी अगर आप रूरल इंडिया में कहीं जाके देखो, people are not aware of it. हमने उनको क्या चीजें दिया? हमने उनको बोला आप हैंड वॉश करो, हाइजीन मेंटेन करो, आप मास्क पहनो, सोशल डिस्टेंसिंग करो. That's it. But what else? Have we ever come across and talked about a person asking कि भाई आपको आपकी फैमिली में अगर किसी को कोविड हो जाता है या कोई एल्डरली है जिसको ऑलरेडी कोई ऐसी डिसीज है जिससे उसकी इम्यूनिटी डिक्रीज हुई भी है, तो उस टाइम पे आप क्या करोगे? आपको क्या क्या टेंशंस हैं आपके? डू यू हैव एनी थिंग्स इन योर माइंड व्हिच यू वुड लाइक टू शेयर? वी नेवर आस्क दोस क्वेश्चंस. So this is where palliative care plays an important role, because palliative care is focusing not only the physical suffering, but the other forms of suffering, that is the mental, the social, the psychological, even the economical burden. So that's where as a palliative, yeah.
So you raised a very important point that in India, we were not really prepared. Although for this disease, no one was prepared. But how far in India have we reached for palliative care? Like, are we that advanced when it comes to, in comparison to global standards? What is the state of palliative care in India at the moment?
I tell you what, so this whole thing, this is still, we are in the developing state of palliative care in India. So if I'll talk about 2 decades, almost 2 decades, when palliative care was actually introduced in India in the early 1980s. Okay, since that time until today, only less than 2% of the Indian population has access to pain and palliative care, pain relief. So this is where we are. And out of that 2% also, if I'll say, more than 80% is in the South India, the Kerala and the other states nearby. North India, we hardly have access to palliative care. This is where we are. Of course, we have a program that is national.
So how?
Yeah.
So how do people actually, come forward? And for example, someone in my family is sick and I actually need the services of palliative care. How do I get that? How do I get to know about that such a system is available in India and there are people to help out? Whom should I reach for that?
Exactly. So what we are trying to do is we have been trying to do a lot of advocacy with the government. And we have been asking the government, because there is this program called National Program for Palliative Care. But since health is a state subject, so whatever the central government comes up with the rules or regulations, it is the state who has to implement those. So we have been asking those people that let's just integrate the palliative care with the comprehensive healthcare, the primary healthcare, which we are actually providing at mohalla clinics, at the hospital and everywhere, so that people reach out to the peripheries. Okay, so what we are now trying to do is, as an organization, there are various other organizations who are coming up and sensitizing people and letting people know that we are here to serve you. You can contact us as and when required. So it is people like you, the PROs and others, who could come forward and reach out to the masses, because you have the approach, you have the outreach. We don't have. We only have the services to provide. So I would request people like you to come forward and spread the word across, so that more people could come to know.
Yeah. So this brings to my next question. In compared to, you spoke about private sector and like public sector. So are these services available openly in private sectors, or is it just the government that is providing this? How is it?
Right now, as I said, also less than 2% of the Indian population has access to pain relief and palliative care. So you very well can understand the scenario where we are. Neither the private nor the government is actually providing the palliative care services. We have to go and let them know that this is there something that needs to be provided to the people, because palliative care per se is your human right. To live a pain-free life is a human fundamental right. But we are not, see, if people are not demanding it, why would the government or anybody else would provide it to you? Okay, so there is no demand because people are not aware of it. There are few hospitals where doctors are trained and they are providing it on their own in their hospital setup. In government also, we are training a lot of doctors and nurses, and then now a couple of doctors are there in the government sectors as well who are providing the services. But if you talk about the whole scenario per se, national scenario, we are still way behind in terms of low middle income country. We do not have the access.
Yeah. So when we talk about the challenges that why palliative care has not found its place in the society, so would you say that it is because of lack of knowledge, or what is it?
Number one is the lack of knowledge, because not many people are in fact aware of palliative care. What is palliative care? Nobody knows. Even in my family, even today, they always ask me what exactly work you are doing. You say you do take care of everything, but how can a person can take care of everything? So I say, no, it's not only me who's taking care of everything. We have a team. It's a teamwork. Not a doctor alone can do that. So people are not aware of it, number one. Number two, those who are aware, they have this misconception saying that palliative care is only for the people suffering from cancer, that too at the terminal stage. When there is no cure left, so बोलते हैं घर जाके सेवा करनी है, तो वहाँ पे आपका palliative care का role आता है. So this is the misconception about palliative care. However, palliative care should start then, as soon as the patient is diagnosed with a disease that's life threatening, that is a serious health related suffering. The moment this is the main reason why we have to come forward and let people know that it is the need of the hour, to address. I have in my personal experience seen a lot of patients where you are providing pain relief to the patient. A patient coming to you saying that a lot of pain, I have a lot of headache and all that, and you're providing pain relief, still the score remains the same. Still the patient says that I still have, like on a scale of 10, I have 7 or 8. Even after those medications. Why? Because we are not addressing the other suffering. Maybe the person is suffering because of the mental trauma he's going through. Maybe he's thinking that I have cancer, I might die, and what will happen to my child's education or to my family, who's going to take care of them? So we are not addressing that as a doctor, or even as a family member. We don't know exactly what the other person is suffering unless we talk to them, unless you communicate with them, you ask them. Yeah.
So it is all about, it also includes a lot of emotional support and psychological support, because you never know the turmoil that the patient is going through apart from the pain, the physical pain that the patient is actually suffering. There comes a lot of anxieties, there comes a lot of pressure, back from home, that what exactly needs to be done. So very rightly said that. This brings me to my next question. Is palliative care and euthanasia, are they the same thing?
Yes, so this is one more question that a lot of people ask, and that to the doctors themselves they ask, because even in the healthcare, it's not just about the local people, but the health. Sorry, there's my cat here, so I'm sorry. So
I think she wants to share the screen with you.
So yes, so euthanasia and palliative care. A lot of people, they ask that if they are the same, so why is euthanasia still illegal in India? And you're talking about palliative care and giving it so much of importance. The most important thing here, the most something that you say, the difference that is between the euthanasia and palliative care is that we are talking about improving the quality of life. Nowhere we are talking about dragging the person to death. Euthanasia is you are killing a person. And just think about yourself, or for myself, why would I want to end my life? Who would want to die, right? So it is because of the suffering. It is because people are not addressing the suffering. That is why somebody would come up to you voluntarily and say that, please, I cannot tolerate the pain. Please, I cannot tolerate the suffering. Just kill me. Okay, so
Mhm.
if out of 10 people, if I'm sure 9 people would be there whose suffering were not properly addressed, and if as a healthcare professional you are not been able to address the other types of suffering, then obviously the last option you have given the patient is to kill himself. That is why the
True.
suicide rate is too high in patients with cancer pain, because it is an intolerable pain and we are not providing them the kind of care, the kind of treatment which they require, and that's why they end their lives on their own. And this is the most important difference between euthanasia and palliative care.
Exactly, because a cancer patient in itself is going through so much of pain that they really need the treatment for years and years. So they need some sort of emotional support. So this is very enlightening, because I myself was not aware what is euthanasia. I was reading about it online, but surprisingly, a lot of information is still not available there. So these are two different worlds altogether, and still people think that it is one and the same thing. So thank you so much for sharing this with us. So this brings me to invite our another speaker, Dr. Parul Prinja. Hello, doctor.
Hello, good morning, and thank you,
Good
Harshita.
morning. Hi, thank you. So I wanted to ask you, since Dr. Saima was introducing us to the subject, so very rightly said about her by her that it mostly people think is about cancer. Palliative care is for cancer patients. So how do you think in this pandemic specifically that palliative care is required for patients suffering from COVID, and during the COVID era, it is actually has become a necessity? Why do you think so?
It's a very important and a very, I would say, important discussion to hold. Now, जैसे डॉक्टर साइमा ने बताया था कि हमारा इम्प्रेशन यही है कि पैलिएटिव मेडिसिन या पैलिएटिव केयर ऐसे लोगों को चाहिए जिनको कैंसर है. बट कैंसर का क्या मतलब है? कैंसर सिग्निफाई क्या करता है? वो एक ऐसी बीमारी सिग्निफाई कर रहा है जिसकी वजह से एक तो उनकी लाइफ शॉर्टन हो गई, उनकी लाइफ की क्वालिटी खराब हो गई, उसकी वजह से, उस बीमारी की वजह से उनकी बॉडी के ऊपर प्रॉब्लम्स आ रही हैं. नंबर 1, उनकी साइकोलॉजी इंपैक्ट हो रही है. You know what is psychology? What the usual sense of being changes. If you were a very happy-go-lucky, I might become very irritable. I might become anxious. I might become depressed. ठीक है? So there is a psychological impact. Then there can be a social impact. Social impact कैसे होता है? अगर मान लो किसी को कैंसर है, अगर आप रूरल एरिया में रहते हैं, वहां पर एक छुआछूत की भी एक टेंडेंसी होती है. उनको लगेगा अरे उसके घर नहीं जाना, उनको कैंसर है, कहीं हमें भी ना हो जाए. तो क्या होता है, एक सोशल इम्पैक्ट है कि आप उस बीमारी ने आपकी बॉडी को तो खराब किया, आपकी एक सोशल, आपको अपनी कम्युनिटी में भी आपको एक इम्पैक्ट उसने क्रिएट कर दिया. और लास्ट में आता है आपको एक स्पिरिचुअल उसका इम्पैक्ट होता है. स्पिरिचुअल से मतलब है हमारा जो एक हमारी हायर सेल्फ के साथ एक हमारा एक कनेक्शन है, एक फेथ है. सो अगर आप रिलीजियस हैं, आप कभी ना कभी किसी ना किसी पॉइंट पे अपने भगवान से पूछेंगे कि मैं सब कुछ तो ठीक करती थी, फिर मुझे ही क्यों किया? और वो देखो, वो उधर वहां हमारे पड़ोस में रहते हैं, वो तो सब गलत काम करते हैं, उनको घर में तो किसी को कैंसर नहीं हुआ. So this is called a spiritual crisis. So this can be, if I'm God fearing, I will complain this to God. If I am an atheist, so it will be to a higher power or to the universe ki why me. So कैंसर ने एक ऐसी बीमारी हमें एक एग्जाम्पल है जो हमारी फिजिकल, बायोफिजिकल, सोशल, साइकोलॉजिकल और स्पिरिचुअल एस्पेक्ट्स को झंझोर देता है. ठीक है? तो अगर हम इन क्वालिटीज को ध्यान में रखें एंड देन वी ट्राई टू पुट दीज विद कोविड, तो कोविड एक्चुअली यू कैन टिक मार्क ऑल दीज 4 क्वार्टर्स. अगर वो हमें हो रहा है, वो हमारी फिजिकल बॉडी को अफेक्ट कर रहा है. यस. Number 2, is it affecting my psychology? Yes, I'm I have contracted a disease जिसका एक्चुअली कहीं कोई इलाज ही नहीं है, और मेरे पास अपनी कोई इम्यूनिटी चेक करने का तो कोई टेस्ट था नहीं. मैं तो यही बिलीव कर रही थी कि मैं बड़ी हेल्दी लेडी हूँ, मुझे तो कुछ होगा नहीं. अब जब हो गया है तो क्या गारंटी है कि मैं इससे निकल पाऊंगी? So there's a psychological crisis going on in my mind. Third is the social aspect. कि बाहर म्युनिसिपल वाले आए, उन्होंने वो एक पोस्टर लगा दिया कि अब 17 दिन तक कोई नहीं जाएगा इस घर में. So now you imagine I am stuck in my room, my family is outside the door and they are clueless. How will I am worried about myself, I am worried about my family कि वो बाहर बेचारे कैसे करेंगे, मेरी ओल्ड मदर है, वो कैसे अपना ध्यान रखेंगी. So social impact उस बीमारी का, and then the spiritual crisis, like I said, yet because you are dealing with death face to face for the next 10 days, you don't know when that bomb will fall on you, and suddenly you will start becoming breathless and you might need to be rushed to the hospital. तो अगर हम इन क्राइटेरियाज को देखें तो यू विल फाइंड दैट कोविड-19 जो है वो पैलिएटिव केयर रिसीव करने के लिए बिल्कुल फिट है. सो हमारे को ये अपना ये चीज हटा देंगे कि इट हैज टू बी वेरी लॉन्ग ड्रॉन इलनेस, even a small illness which is going to create the same pressures in all aspects of our life will also require this palliative service, because palliative is bio, psychosocial, spiritual care for the patient and the family.
True. So you brought a very relevant topic about social stigma. So what do you feel about, when a person is put into isolation? So that really puts in a lot of pressure on the person, because you are confined in one room, you cannot meet other people, so nobody wants to come close to you. So in this specific case, especially in the pandemic that is happening a lot, and people are going through a phase of depression because of this. So how can palliative care help in this regard?
Okay, see, in this case, you're very rightly said that being alone for 17 days when you're actually facing a lethal problem, it can have a huge impact on our psyche, on our mental well-being. आप इसको किसी भी बीमारी के साथ करें, आप पिछले 2 साल पहले तक हम लोग कोविड की जगह डेंगू की बात करते थे, तो आप सोचिए अगर घर में किसी को डेंगू होता तो क्या सिचुएशन थी. दे वर प्रॉब्ली इन द सेंट्रल रूम, हर कोई आता जाता उन्हीं के पास बैठता था, कोई आके नींबू पानी दे रहा है, कोई बात कर रहा है, कोई आपकी फेवरेट मूवी लगा रहा है, कोई लाड कर रहा है हमारे साथ, नहीं बताओ क्या खाओगे, नहीं मैं बनाती हूँ, वो चाहे हम आधा कटोरी भी लें बट कोई बनाकर हमें दे रहा था. और अब आप यहाँ इसके साथ कंपेयर कीजिए, आपका डायग्नोसिस आया है और आपको इमीडिएटली कमरे में जाओ, बंद कर दो, एंड यू जस्ट इमेजिन, और वो बेचारा अंदर है ना, तो वो उसको अपने लिए डर लग रहा है, मुझे अपने लिए डर लग रहा है, मुझे बाहर जो मेरे घर के मेंबर्स हैं उनके लिए डर लग रहा है. एंड these 17 days are really a very tough time for people, because एक तो वो ऑब्सेस्ड हो जाते हैं अपने सैचुरेशन से, क्योंकि उनका सारा दिन इसी पे ही है, मेरी सैचुरेशन इतनी हो गई, मेरा टेम्परेचर इतना हो गया, मेरी सैचुरेशन इतनी हो गई, मेरा टेम्परेचर इतना हो गया. और उसके साथ साथ उनको हर वक्त यह डर लगता है कि जैसे ही रात होती कि कहीं रात को कुछ गड़बड़ तो नहीं हो जाएगी, मेरी सांस फूलने तो नहीं लग जाएगी, कहीं वो एक हल्की सी भी खांसी उठती है तो लगता है कहीं बस अब इसी के साथ कुछ हो तो नहीं जाएगा. सो ये जो चीज है ये 17 दिन तक तो रहती है, बट मैंने अपने पिछले कुछ महीनों में देखा है कि जो लोग इससे ठीक भी हो गए हैं उसके बाद भी वो मेरे साथ रेगुलर संपर्क में है, बिकॉज दे आर सो स्केयर्ड. इट्स लाइक practically like a post traumatic stress disorder.
So this is
कि मैं आज थक गया, कहीं मैडम मुझे दोबारा तो नहीं हो गया, आज मुझे खांसी आई थी. they're so hyper aware of every functioning in their body कि it's just taking toll on their lives.
So this is where I was coming to. You raised a very important topic, that what is the role of counseling when a person is actually going through infected with COVID and also post-traumatic? How can counseling, by the doctors, by the relatives and the attendants, how can counseling really help a patient to come out of it?
Counseling है, हमें लगता है, या कम्युनिकेशन है, that is such an important tool we have. अगर आप अभी का छोड़कर पहले से देखें, हमने जो भी कोई भी कोई बड़ी बीमारी जो समाज में बहुत फैलती है, चाहे वो पोलियो था, चाहे वो इम्यूनाइजेशंस हैं, या फिर एनकरेज करना कि सभी लेडीज हॉस्पिटल में जाकर एक हेल्थ फैसिलिटी में डिलीवरी करवाएं, वो कहाँ से शुरू हुआ, वो सक्सेस हमें कहाँ से मिली? वो आई कम्युनिकेशन से. जब हमने ये चीज हर घर में पहुंचाई कि अगर आप घर में डिलीवरी करवाती हैं तो पॉसिबिलिटी है कि बच्चे की भी जान खतरे में है और माँ की जान भी खतरे में है, तो आप उसे टाइमली अस्पताल ले जाएं. एंड देन वी मेड इट सच अ नॉर्मल कॉन्वर्सेशन दैट पीपल स्टार्टेड टॉकिंग अबाउट इट. सिमिलरली नाउ वी आर टॉकिंग अबाउट दिस प्रॉब्लम. आपका क्वेश्चन है कि काउंसलिंग व्हेन यू हैव द प्रॉब्लम एंड देन सब्सिक्वेंटली, तो ये तो हमें करना ही होगा. हेल्थ केयर वर्कर्स, यहीं पर ही पहला डिफरेंस आ जाएगा यदि एक पेशेंट एक कन्वेंशनल डॉक्टर के पास जाता है या एक पैलिएटिव केयर फिजिशियन के पास जाता है. बिकॉज when you are going to a regular physician, they will just see, अच्छा आपको कोई शुगर नहीं, डायबिटीज नहीं, कैंसर नहीं है, टिक टिक टिक, तुम्हें कोई हाई रिस्क नहीं है, चलो ये आइवरमेक्टिन लो, ये डॉक्सी लो, ये इतने दिन, ये इतने दिन, अब घर जाइए और घर में दरवाजा बंद करके 17 दिन रहिए. But a palliative physician will not say this. You know, when I speak to patients or anybody in my position, you know, any palliative physician, तो हम लोग पूछते हैं आपको ये दवाइयाँ खानी है, आपको एक कमरे में रहना पड़ेगा, will you be comfortable with it? I have people who simply said कि मैडम मैं तो इतना people person हूँ, मैं तो 17 दिन रह ही नहीं पाऊंगा मैडम, मैं तो एक दिन में ही पागल हो जाऊंगा. और the other way, you know, कि my wife, you know, she's so, वो तो घबरा जाती है, वो कैसे कर पाएंगी. मैं तो समझ गया, बट उसको कौन समझाएगा? उस पेशेंट के अटेंडेंट को जो दरवाजे की दूसरी तरफ है, उसको समझाना भी एक फिजिशियन का ही काम है.
So it is. So it is also about.
जी.
It is also about, you know, providing mental support to the patient and the attendants apart from just prescribing medicines. Exactly.
Because that is very important. See, one is called disease and one is called illness. ठीक है, disease हो गई है आपको कोविड, और जो illness है वो है आपका एक्सपीरियंस, आपका अपना एक्सपीरियंस जो आप वो 15 दिन या 7 दिन एक्सपीरियंस करेंगे उस अकेले कमरे में.
True.
और हम बीमारी को जितना मॉड्यूलेट कर सकते हैं, वो आपको भी पता है कि हमारे पास कोई स्पेसिफिक दवाइयां नहीं हैं. But what we can do and endeavor is that we can change the experience the people are having because of this disease. They should come out stronger. You know, when you come out of a certain thing and you have survived it, it should build up your resilience. वो आपको एकदम से तोड़ ना दे. हम यही चाहते हैं कि जब आप उससे निकले, you feel that yes, you know, I did this, you know, I was able to do this. मेरी फैमिली ये कर सकी, you know, as a unit, family should come out stronger after this rather than getting broken down. ये नहीं कि उसके बाद में एक फैमिली मेंबर को मैं यू नो एंजाइटी डिसऑर्डर के साथ ट्रीट करती रहूं अगले 6 महीने तक, किसी को मैं ये बीमारी के जो उसको सोमैटिक सिम्टम्स आ रहे हैं उनके लिए करूं. तो डेफिनेटली treating, giving them proper counseling during these 7 days will reduce the probability of them needing psychological support subsequently. But since हम लोग हमेशा बात करते हैं कि प्रिवेंशन की, जब इसकी भी शुरू हुई है मुहिम, तो इट वाज जस्ट अबाउट प्रिवेंटिंग. तो हम इन सब चीजों को भी प्रिवेंट कर सकते हैं जब हम इसके बारे में होने से पहले ही अपने घरों में डिस्कस करें.
Yes, so this is where I was coming to next, that we have been talking a lot about, you know, prevention. Let's, you know, wear masks, maintain social distancing, have cardas and all. But what about once you've got infected? We never talk about that with our families. You know, अगर मेरे को infection हो गया या मेरी पूरी family को infection हो गया, I also have senior people at home. What will happen once people are infected? Because we don't even want to think about it. The thought of it also makes us very anxious. So how do people, you know, deal with it? They need some sort of discussion internally.
Yes, ये बहुत ही एक अच्छा क्वेश्चन पूछा आपने, और हर्षिता ये बहुत सही बात बोली कि ये बात छेड़ने से ही हमें एंजाइटी हो जाती है, सोच करके हम ये कॉन्वर्सेशन अपने घर में शुरू करने वाले हैं. बट ये ऐसा नहीं है कि ये कोई पहली बार हम लोग अपने घरों में ऐसा करेंगे. आप देखिए, अगर घर में कोई प्रेगनेंसी होती है और डिलीवरी ड्यू है, हम सारी तैयारियां पहले से करते हैं. बैग तैयार रहता है, हमारी कार हम इंश्योर करते हैं उसमें पेट्रोल हमेशा रहे, हमारे फोन चार्ज रहते हैं, हम हॉस्पिटल में हमेशा चेक करते हैं कि हमारी गायनेक वहां पर रहे, कहीं छुट्टियों पे तो नहीं चली गई. सो ऐसा नहीं है कि वी डोंट एवर ट्राई टू यू नो प्रीएम्प्टिवली कीप एवरीथिंग इन चेक बिकॉज इट्स अ हैप्पी इवेंट. यहाँ पर हम एक बहुत ही ड्रास्टिक और नेगेटिव इवेंट को हम फोर्सी कर रहे हैं और उसके लिए हम तैयारी कर रहे हैं. और एक हमारे अंदर एक हिचक होती है कि अगर हम या इतनी बुरी चीज सोचेंगे तो हो ही जाएगी. ये बहुत ही कॉमन एक हमारे मन में एक वहम है कि अगर हम बुरी चीज का सोचेंगे तो हो ही जाएगी, तो सोचो ही मत. बट ये ऐसा नहीं है. हमें इसके बारे में पूरी तरह से पहले से ही तैयार रहना पड़ेगा. बिकॉज इफ वी आर if we are ready with it, we will be able to make the right decisions when we are sick, and then we will come out stronger. This is the thing. तो जब आप कहते हैं कि हम घर में कैसे ये कॉन्वर्सेशन शुरू करें, तो हम अपने घरों में जो हमारे एक फैमिली यूनिट है उसमें जो लोग हैं उनको हम 3 कैटेगरीज में, for the sake of conversation, because the way we will deal with each of them is different, we will divide them in 3 categories. One is the vulnerable population. Vulnerable है जिसको हम common language में कहेंगे जिनकी immunity कम है, जैसे जो बुजुर्ग हैं हमारे घरों में, जो 60-65 से ऊपर हैं, जिनको डायबिटीज है, जिनकी अनकंट्रोल्ड हाइपरटेंशन है, हार्ट फेलियर है, हार्ट कमजोर है, किसी की किडनीज खराब हैं, कोई डायलिसिस पर है, ठीक है, किन्हीं को कोई स्ट्रोक के पेशेंट्स है जो बेड पर हैं, ठीक है, जो लोग स्टीरॉइड्स ले रहे हैं किसी कारण से, जिनकी लंग्स पहले से कॉम्प्रोमाइज्ड हैं, ठीक है, HIV के पेशेंट्स.
So patients with comorbidities basically.
Patients with comorbidities, like pregnant women. So ये सारे हमारे क्या आ जाते हैं, ये vulnerable हैं क्योंकि इनके अंदर जो अगर इन्फेक्शन आया तो बहुत जल्दी से वो फैलेगा और बहुत सिवियर होगा. And obviously the treatments we have are not curative, so they will also not be successful in curbing the infection. So they are one category of people. Second category हमारे घरों में है जो sandwich generation है, यानी कि आप ना इधर के हैं और ना बच्चे हैं, आप घर चलाते हैं. Yes, exactly. तो आप घर चला रहे हैं, आप बड़ों का भी ध्यान रख रहे हैं, आप बच्चों का भी कर रहे हैं, आप अपनी नौकरी भी कर रहे हैं, और अगर अनफॉर्चुनेटली इस दौरान फाइनेंशियल क्राइसिस में छूट गई है तो उसको ढूंढ रहे हैं. So you are the, you know, the person, you have good physical immunity, but your mental stresses are much more than the other two categories. And then there are children who are clueless, who are just seeing things, but they don't know how to process it, कि वो हो क्या रहा है. तो ये 3 अलग हमारे पास कैटेगरीज हैं. जब हम लोगों को अपने घर में या अपने फ्रेंड्स में बात करेंगे तो उनको हम इस तरीके से 3 कैटेगरीज बनाकर, and then we will proceed our conversation.
So while we yes,
can I just take 2 minutes more? तो जब हम आप इनसे बात करते हैं, जब आप बुजुर्गों से या जब आप हाई मतलब वल्नरेबल पॉपुलेशन से बात करते हैं, तो आपको ये समझना पड़ेगा कि जो 2 to 4% डेथ रेट है कोविड की वजह से जनरल पब्लिक में, वो इनमें रफली 16 to 22% है. और ये वो लोग भी जानते हैं, वो आपसे इसकी बात नहीं करते हैं क्योंकि इतना मीडिया में फैल रहा है, इतनी इंफॉर्मेशन, मिस इन्फॉर्मेशन आ रही है that everybody knows it. So everybody is sitting with that information in them, but they are not sharing it. So what can be done? Done ये किया जा सकता है कि हम उनको बोलें कि आप अपने बारे में बताइए कि मम्मी अगर आपको ये इन्फेक्शन हो जाए, आई नो हम लोग सब प्रिकॉशंस ले रहे हैं घर में, बट अगर गॉड फॉरबिड ये इन्फेक्शन हो गया तो हम कैसे मैनेज करेंगे, हम आपको
this is where I was coming to. So basically for example, I have an elderly citizen and they have other comorbidities also, and they get infected and God forbid they are admitted and they're serious. So can we have this conversation with our families and with our doctor that how to proceed with the further treatment, because there may be at one point there may be a chance that we know internally, we do not want to accept it, but internally we know that there are very grim chances of survival once the organ failure starts to happen. So can my parents talk to me about it and I can communicate that to the treating doctor? Is it possible to form these sort of guidelines in the family?
Absolutely, absolutely. इसके लिए हर्षिता, हम इसको जो आपने बोला इसके लिए एक एक्चुअल मेडिकल टर्म है जिसको हम बोलते हैं एडवांस्ड डायरेक्टिव्स, या अगर आप इसे एक लोकल पार्लेंस में बोलेंगे तो कहेंगे मेडिकल विल. जैसे कि आपकी एक फाइनेंशियल विल होती है आपकी जो प्रॉपर्टीज को लेकर, इसी तरीके से ये फाइनेंशियल ये एक मेडिकल विल है. तो इसमें हम क्या करते हैं, लाइक आई हैड दिस कॉन्वर्सेशन विद माय मदर. सो आई आस्क्ड हर वेरी स्ट्रेट फॉरवर्ड दैट मम्मी, व्हेन कोविड हैपेंस टू यू, how would you like to be treated? Okay, now she has diabetes, she is on the wrong side of the age group, so how would you like to be treated? तो उन्होंने मुझे अपनी एक गाइडलाइंस बता रखी है कि मुझे आप घर पर ही ट्रीट करो, तो मुझे मेरे ही कमरे में रहने देना, मैं यहाँ पर अपना इलाज कराऊंगी. So then we proceeded to the next question, that what will happen if I am not able to control your symptoms at home?
True.
So then we said कि okay, then we have pinpointed that we will be going to this hospital and we will get you admitted there, ताकि वहां पर आपको ऑक्सीजन का सपोर्ट मिले, और अगर जरूरत पड़े तो NIV, जिसको हम नॉन इन्वेसिव वेंटिलेटर कहते हैं, जो बेसिकली फेस पे लगाकर आपको ऑक्सीजन देते हैं, हम वहां तक चलेंगे. Then I again asked the next question कि बाई चांस 6-8 घंटे की ऑब्जर्वेशन के बाद आप उस पर भी इम्प्रूव ना की, and they say that लंग्स तो बिल्कुल ही खराब हो रही हैं, बट अब आपको वेंटिलेटर पर जाना पड़ेगा, तो आप मम्मी मुझे बताइए कि what should I do on your behalf? Now that's the most crucial word, on your behalf. I am not doing as a daughter. I am just doing as a person who is speaking on her behalf. So she has very categorically told me that please don't put me on a ventilator.
So this is a very difficult conversation to
Yes.
have with your parents. I'm like,
Absolutely.
you did that is a very
No, it was
like
not on a. I must tell you very honestly that it was not of one sitting thing. You know, we started and we were having a third person
slowly.
conversation.
Yeah.
You know, if something happens
Yeah.
to them, how should they do?
I
And then
know, taking it the other way
and then
around and
it just
not
kept
bringing it up
happening. फिर वो धीरे
directly.
धीरे उसको हम personalize करते करते हम अपने दोनों पर ले
Hmm.
आई. तो उस तरीके से हमने वो conversation की. But important ये था कि एक बार अगर उन्होंने मजाक में मैं तुझे छोड़ के नहीं जाने वाली, पर मैंने खत्म नहीं किया. उन्होंने कहा मैं इतनी जल्दी तेरा पीछा नहीं छोड़ूंगी. तो ये नहीं कि मैंने अच्छा अच्छा करके छोड़ दिया ना, मैंने फिर से वो बात छेड़ी अगले दिन कि आप बताइए. सो इस तरीके से क्या हो गया कि हमें पता था.
So it is basically
Exactly.
slowly bringing the conversation around and not directly. You can take
Yes.
days to discuss about it, because if you bring the question directly, it is obviously going to,
Nobody.
bring down their confidence also, that, what is
Exactly.
happening to me. Yeah.
Exactly.
So, Dr. Parul, you mentioned a very relevant point in between, which I completely agree with, that there are a lot of, information floating around in the media. Some of it maybe, a lot of it is rumors also. So how do a person cope up? Because most of the people, they rely on what is going around on social media, what they see on the news channels and all. So how do we know that, there are 10 things that are coming around, which one to follow, which one to avoid? Because reading about all of them also gives us an anxiety, because I read about it and I'm like, okay, I should follow this or that. So how do you feel that as a palliative care expert, you can guide us there?
See, when it comes to which information to take in and which to filter off from the media, I have a very simple formula, that is, do not listen to the social media. If you go to the authorized medical organizations. You can go to the ICMR guidelines of India. You can you can have a conversation with your family doctors. That is the best way. Do not go to these so-called self-help blogs and places and get information, because either they will sensationalize a certain thing to the extent that 1% of truth actually gets left behind, and the 99% of that exaggerated thing gets embedded in our memory. So best is to get the information directly from the horse's mouth, which is from the government guidelines, because they are the ones which are applicable for our city, our area, based on how much is the spread. So they are making the guidelines. Best is you follow those. Next is, if there is any difficulty or doubt in how to implement it in your house, speak to your doctors.
Okay. So, Dr. Parul, we have a question from our viewer. So, Dr. Rajiv Chibar, he writes that while palliative care needs streamlined care in a hospital setup, is there tips for lifestyle change and home care which can be sought?
Absolutely. See, what you want lifestyle tips for having a healthy life, or you want lifestyle tips for taking care of
I feel that palliative care at home is what he means, that do we actually need help from a palliative care expert if someone wants to really boost the morale of the patient and do not want to go to a hospital setup? So what are the tips that a person can actually implement at home and sort some lifestyle changes, maybe like try to keep happy or try to exercise a bit?
Excellent. Yeah, see, one is that the most important person who is going to be the first contact who will tell you that you are not coping well is going to be your family. Or if you're very good insight, you yourself will know that I'm not just being my usual self. So how is it? So you have to look into your own self, or look into your family members. Are they sleeping nicely? Are they sleeping too much? Are they having a refreshed sleep? Number one. Are they eating enough, or are they just eating too much? Are they having any gastric problems? They say, okay, I've just developed loose motions, I have stomach upset, or they're feeling tired, they're having palpitations, suddenly heartbeat होने लग जाता है, हाथ पैर ठंडे पड़ने लग जाते हैं, ठीक है, पसीने आने लग जाते हैं बैठे बैठे, घबराहट होती है. So these are certain physical, you can say, indicators that something is wrong with their coping mechanism. Then there can be certain behavioral things, like people who are relatively cool and calm, they start snapping around. You know, you start hitting your child, you yell at them at small little things, you're forgetting
Yeah.
things, you know, you're working in the kitchen and you keep dropping things. So इस तरीके से आपको पता चल जाता है हड़बड़ाहट आ गई है आपके अंदर, एक नर्वसनेस है, you know, you can't sit quietly, आप हर वक्त कुछ ना कुछ करना है. So इस तरीके से आप कंटिन्यूअसली टीवी देखते जा रहे हैं, और अगर आपको मैं घंटे बाद पूछूं आप देख क्या रहे थे, आपको क्या पता नहीं है,
आपको नहीं पता होगा.
हाँ मुझे तो याद भी नहीं है कुछ देखने बैठी और क्या कर रही थी. सो ये इस
हम्म.
तरीके से कुछ लक्षण है जिससे कि हमें पता चल जाता है कि हमारे आसपास जो हमारे फैमिली मेंबर्स हैं, हमारे फ्रेंड्स हैं, दे आर इन स्ट्रेस, यू नो दैट अभी वो कुकर की सीटी नहीं बजी बट प्रेशर बिल्डअप हो रहा है एंड वी रियली नीड टू वेंट इट. सो
True.
हाउ टू हेल्प देम. तो इसके लिए हम कहते हैं कि आप एक अच्छी मेंटल हाइजीन अडॉप्ट करें. तो इसका एक बहुत ही, अगर एक सिंपल सा मैं आपको एक एक गाइडलाइन दूं या एक उसका एक्रोनिम है, उसे कहते हैं मैप्स. MAPS, मैप्स. इसका मतलब है कि आप अपने दिन में ये 4 चीजें आपने करनी है सो दैट यू कैन हैव अ वेरी नाइस एंड अ वेरी फुलफिलिंग डे. M इज मास्टरी, यानी कि आप हर रोज कुछ ऐसा काम करें जिससे आपको खुशी मिलती है और आपको उससे एक सेंस ऑफ अकॉम्प्लिशमेंट मिलती है. दैट मीन्स समथिंग रिलेटेड टू योर जॉब. You do it and you will instantly get a, you know, a satisfaction. You are moderating the session, you know, however your day goes, but you will know, you know, I did a good job today. So one is you did a mastery, you did something which helped you develop your skills. Second is altruism. Altruism का मतलब है कि हम किसी के लिए बिना कुछ अपना फायदा देखे करें, even at the cost of our own personal discomfort. अगर आप मुझे
Okay.
कोई अचानक से मेरी फ्रेंड फोन करके, यू नो, कि हाँ मेरे घर में तो मेरे हस्बैंड को कोविड हो गया है, हमारे घर के बाहर लॉक लग गया है, एंड आई रियली नीड दीज थिंग्स फॉर माय चाइल्ड, एंड आई से कि ओके नेवर माइंड, यू नो, डोंट वरी, आई स्किप माय लंच और आई हैव इट बिट लेटर, मैं अभी लाके तुझे दे रही हूँ. या फिर आप अपने बाहर गार्ड भैया को 500 रुपए दे देते हैं कि जाके अपना ये काम करा लेना. सो दीज आर एल्ट्रुइस्टिक थिंग्स कि हम बिना किसी अपना स्वार्थ देखे कर रहे हैं. So that gives you satisfaction. Do an altruistic act every day. Third is pleasure. Do something which makes you happy. You know, happy like a child. चाहे वो आपके लिए म्यूजिक है, आर्ट है, डांस है, you know, watching a movie, कोई कॉमेडी देखना, कुछ भी. Something that gives you pleasure. You know, pleasure could be just connecting with your family on you know, on a video chat. So something pleasurable every day. And S is for silence. Most important, spend some time alone with yourself, because that is when you will discover yourself कि मेरा आज का दिन कैसा गया, मैं कैसा कोप कर रही हूँ, कुछ you know, मैं अपने आप को पहचान सकूंगी या यहाँ पर मैं थोड़ा सा गड़बड़ कर गई, how should I seek help, you know. So silence is very important to reconnect with our own selves and to just, you know, cool down ourselves, क्योंकि हम पूरा दिन एक फाइट एंड फ्लाइट मोड में लगे, इससे बचो, वायरस से बचो, काम कर लो, यू नो, ये भी डेडलाइन कंप्लीट कर लो, घर भी साफ कर लो. सो ये जो मैप्स का अगर आप एक गाइडलाइन बना लें, और ये भी रख लीजिए कि अपने पूरे दिन में MAPS से मैंने 4 चीजें कर ली हैं, तो ग्रॉसली यू विल स्टे सेम मोस्ट ऑफ द टाइम. उसके अलावा जो बाकी की रूटीन चीजें हैं, जैसे कि आप एक बैलेंस डाइट खाएं, थोड़ा एक्सरसाइज जरूर करें अपने घर में, ठीक है, अपना रेस्ट पूरा ले, स्लीप पूरी ले, एंड कम्युनिकेट विद योर फैमिली. मोस्ट इंपॉर्टेंट, यू जस्ट रिमेंबर दैट फिजिकली हम लोग एक दूसरे को नहीं मिल सकते, बट वर्चुअली एक्चुअली इन अ वे इट हैज ओपन गेट्स, क्योंकि जिन लोगों को हम इतने टाइम से नहीं भी मिले, उनसे भी हम हर रोज, हर हफ्ते, यू नो, चैट कर रहे हैं. सो यस, सो जस्ट अडैप्ट टू इट and you know, start reconnecting with people. And if you
so
follow
this period has actually brought people together in a lot
Yes.
of ways. So we have another question, like how is it different for children? This is a viewer question, which also brings me to the thing that how do you communicate with your child? Because most of the times we are trying to save our children from the bad news, but still there is you know, these days social media and television is so easily accessible even to children. So if we try to hide that, you know, someone is not well in the family, and you know, we try to most often hide that situation or the current scenario that is happening around. So how do we communicate with the children, and how important it is basically?
अगर हम देखें ध्यान से, तो बच्चों की जिंदगी जो है वो बहुत ही ज्यादा उथल पुथल हो गई है कोविड की वजह से। वो स्कूल्स नहीं जा पा रहे, वो सोशलाइज नहीं कर पा रहे अपने पीयर ग्रुप के साथ, ठीक है। वो और जो ये सोशल इंटरेक्शन है वो बच्चों के लिए कहीं ज्यादा जरूरी है उनकी वेलबींग के लिए वर्सेस एडल्ट्स, नंबर वन। Second is that you rightly said, they are observing and they're feeling things more, but they do not know how to process that. So जब हम बच्चों के साथ डील कर रहे हैं इन कोविड टाइम्स, हम उसको बच्चों की एज ग्रुप के हिसाब से हम उनको डील करेंगे। जैसे अगर कोई छोटे बच्चे हैं जो 5वीं जमात से नीचे के बच्चे हैं, ठीक है, उनको आप सिंपल भाषा में कि बेटे आजकल बहुत जर्म्स हैं बाहर हवा में, तो इसलिए आपको मास्क पहनना है, इसलिए आपको ये हैंड्स वॉश करने हैं, आपको स्कूल में एक दूसरे से जर्म्स हो जाएंगे, इसलिए आप लोग सब क्लास जो है आप अपने अपने रूम्स से अपने घर में ये लैपटॉप्स पर या टैबलेट्स पर कंडक्ट कर रहे हैं, ठीक है। So this is how you can inform them that this is something there, so that they should not be clueless कि कुछ ऐसा है, तो they should know that there is a कीटाणु, number one. Second is that ensure that you should always be aware that what all information your child is also gathering from other places. तो ये तो आपने एक बार जस्ट छोटे बच्चों का है, जो उससे बीच का एज ग्रुप है, जो मिडिल क्लास मिडिल स्कूल तक है, बट जस्ट शॉर्ट ऑफ द टीन्स प्री टीन्स तक का, वहां पर we can have a conversation which is a little more above it, जिसमें कि आप उनको बता सकते हैं कि ये बीमारी है, आप उन्हें बताइए कि इसको इससे बचने के क्या तरीके हैं, ठीक है। आप उनको बताइए कि इसकी वजह से आप ये सब लाइफस्टाइल चेंजेस ला रहे हैं, उनको इस चीज का भी दिखाएं कि देखो आई नो यू आर नॉट गोइंग, बट सी मैं भी तो घर बैठे हूँ, तो लेट अस स्पेंड मोर टाइम टुगेदर। यू कैन फिक्स अप अ टाइम एंड स्पेंड विद योर चाइल्ड, प्ले विद देम, सो दैट उनकी फिजिकल मेंटल इमोशनल वेलबींग बनी रहे। उनसे पूछिए, उनकी उनकी भी मेंटल हाइजीन के तरफ ध्यान दें, उनको आप एनकरेज करें कि वो जो भी फील करते हैं वो आपके साथ शेयर कर सके। कई बार वो क्लियर नहीं होंगे, वो आर्टिकुलेट नहीं कर पाएंगे कि कि मैं बड़ा डिप्रेस्ड हूँ, बट आपको अगर उनकी एक्टिविटी से लग रहा है कि यार वो थोड़ा इरिटेबल हो गया, बहुत जंपी हो गया है, तो you should know that और पढ़ाई में मन नहीं लग रहा, so they will be physical cues because they are repressing everything and then it gets it comes out in such behaviors. तो उससे एक पेरेंट्स को पता चल जाता है। और दूसरा आप उनसे डायरेक्टली पूछ लें कि बच्चे आप जब पूरा दिन घर रहते हो आपको कैसा महसूस होता है इससे। अगेन उसी तरीके से उनके लेवल पर जाकर आप उनसे एक कॉन्वर्सेशन शुरू कर सकते हैं। जब आप बात करते हैं,
so communicating with your child,
exactly, is very important. And third is when you're talking to the preteens or teenagers. Now teenagers जो हैं वो काफी कुछ जानते हैं, और क्योंकि वो मीडिया को हमसे ज्यादा अच्छा हैंडल करना जानते हैं, उनके पास इंफॉर्मेशन और मिस इन्फॉर्मेशन हमसे कहीं ज्यादा है,
दोनों है।
तो इस केस में आपको उनको एक मेच्योरिटी का एक बेनिफिट ऑफ डाउट देना है, उनके साथ खुलकर बात करनी है, उनसे भी पूछना है कि बेटा आप अपने स्कूल में या आप जो फ्रेंड सर्कल से आपको क्या इन्फॉर्मेशन मिलती है इसके बारे में, सो दैट यू कैन रिमूव द वीट फ्रॉम द शैफ। आप बता सकते हैं कि ये आपको बच्चे जो पता चला है वो फैक्ट्स हैं, बट इसमें कोई साइंटिफिक कोई वेटेज नहीं है इन सब बातों में। देन you can involve them in their household activities. आप उनको allot करिए काम कि आप बेटा ये करिए, so that they have a sense of responsibility. You can collaborate household work with them, so that this will make them empowered, so they will not feel कि उनका life के ऊपर कोई control ही नहीं है. So this is how we can prepare
keeping them
children.
occupied is also a very essential thing, because they are not going to the schools and all. So keeping them
constructively
occupied in one way or the other, and keeping their mind engaged.
Exactly.
Yes, constructively occupied. So yeah. So I have one question for Dr. Saima. Dr. Saima, a viewer wants to know that palliative care, does it mean death? Is it does it apply to a patient when a patient has or to the family when a patient has died? So can you throw some light on it? So you've explained to us that what palliative care and euthanasia is, but this has come in from a viewer. So
I tell you one thing, palliative care is something that doesn't end when a person dies. It goes beyond that, So as a palliative care physician or as a palliative care professional, हम लोग अगर person की death हो गई है, हम उसको family को वहीं नहीं छोड़ते हैं. We go beyond that. There is something called bereavement support. We ensure that we are there with the family even after the person has died. We have to ensure कि, see, that is why I say कि पैलेटिव केयर का इन्वॉल्वमेंट स्टार्टिंग से होना चाहिए, बिकॉज दैट इज हाउ यू बिल्ड द रिलेशनशिप विद योर पेशेंट एंड द फैमिली. दे ट्रस्ट यू इनफ कि अगर पेशेंट की डेथ हो गई उसके बाद भी दे आर कमिंग अप टू यू विद देयर प्रॉब्लम्स, एंड यू शुड बी अवेलेबल टू देम बियॉन्ड दैट. You should be available to ensure that if there is anything that we could do for the family in terms of skill building exercise. There might be chances that just patient ki death hui hai, he was the only breadwinner in the family. Now the family is left all alone. Who's going to take care of the family? So we might just help them in vocational rehabilitative services, any other activities. So yes, so it is not just the end of when the person dies, but beyond that as well.
So rightly said, because the physician's role, I feel, ends when a patient
Absolutely.
dies, but then a palliative care expert, they start from the beginning and stay even beyond
Yes.
the patient has died.
So the tangent is such, so once the person is diagnosed with a disease, for example, a life-threatening disease, cancer or HIV or anything, curative treatment is at the peak the moment you are
Yes.
diagnosed. Okay? But
True.
as you progress, as your condition is declining, curative treatment is also declining. There will be a time when they will say there is no cure left. Now
Yeah.
you can take your patient back home. But we are the ones then at that time when we are at the peak.
Your role is at
Yes, so we
yes.
increase as towards the end and beyond that. So that's why palliative care plays a very important role.
Thank you so much, Dr. Saima, Dr. Parul. So for vote of thanks and as our expert, we have Mr. JP Dondial. He is presently working as consultant PR in Council of Architecture. He started his career in PR with Doordarshan, and in his formative days, he has also worked with and handled leading positions with NPC, NHPC, Power Grid, and he retired as PR head for THDC. I welcome you, sir, for a vote of thanks.
Thank you so much, Harshita, for inviting me for choosing my closing remarks. I'm delighted to take this opportunity to put in all my gratitude in the form of words. It was really wonderful session that enlightened all of us. The subject was very emotional and imperative in these days of pandemic, which the speakers have covered in a subtle and satisfying language. They gave very useful tips. They opened many brackets. Many myths they cleared, and it was very thought-provoking and path-breaking. We are really grateful to them. Today, everyone, especially the new generation, have to give emotional support to all those needy people who are suffering or facing the trauma in the society. Both the doctors have covered this sensitive issue in a very scientific and emotional manner, using very simple and effective language. I hope now we become the support system for those who need this in the society, which will be the real puja offered to gods. On behalf of Chairman PR Society Delhi and its governing body members, I would like to thank the eminent speakers, Dr. Parul and Dr. Saima, for taking out their precious time and consenting to be the speakers here. Madams, indeed you both have enriched the participants by your valuable inputs. I thank Ms. Harshita for brilliantly moderating the event with full understanding of the subject. Thank you, Harshita ji. I thank all participants for their presence in the event. Your encouragement helps us to carry out important events like this. I will fail in my duty if I don't mention the enormous contribution of Sri Shubham, Sri Akshat, Ms. Tanvi, Ms. Sucharita, and other members of the Young Brigade who work at the back of backstage. Thank you, youngsters, for making the event so successful. I wish to express my gratitude to Paul Care Foundation for organizing such an informative webinar for us. It is really thought-provoking and a lot of takeaways you have given us. Thank you, Mr. Naresh, Chairman, PRSI, Dr. Paul, Vice Chairman, Sri Rao, Secretary, Sri Tiwari, Joint Secretary, Sri JP Sharma ji, Treasurer, Sri Babaji, Program Director, Sri KM Dhawan Saab, Sri Rajat, Sri Bakshi, Sri Ms. Tanvi, and Sri Akshat, our esteemed members who made it happen so successfully. Special thanks to Dr. Jairam from Bangalore, Sri Krishna Kumar from Bangalore, Sri Ashish Tayal from Nagpur, all students and teachers pan India who have made it possible to attend this important seminar. Thank you all once again. Thank you once again.
Thank you, sir. So now I leave the forum open. If anyone has any questions, or Dr. Parul, Dr. Saima, if you have any closing remarks, please.
I have a small question. I mean, either Dr. Saima or Dr. Parul, any one of you could address it. A lot of doctors are suggesting these days to go for influenza, pneumonia, or flu shots. So, how effective do you think it is, like, to go for a influenza injection or a flu injection? What are your views?
So may I go ahead, Saima?
Yeah, please, ma'am.
Okay.
Please go ahead.
So Shubham, you have asked again a very correct question. And this is something which we are advocating, doctors are advocating to everyone. Previously, these injections or these vaccines used to be offered to the elderly population. But keeping in view the current pandemic, now the guidelines or suggestion is to offer it to every person, because flu and COVID are virtually the same in terms of presentation. दोनों में ही जुकाम गला खराब होता है और दोनों में ही निमोनिया होता है, और presence of common flu और जो influenza है, that increases the probability of developing COVID. So yes, it makes a lot of sense to get yourself vaccinated for influenza and for pneumococcal infection.
May I come in for a minute?
Sure, sir, please.
All right. Thank you very much for taking both of my questions, and very well answered by both the doctors on the panel. 2-3 days back, I am in touch with one of my colleagues who have been suffering with COVID positive. He was in hospital X in Faridabad, and there is some kind of environment being created that he is not getting well, etc. When he decided that he wants to move to another hospital, we arranged his shifting to another better, good known hospital in Gurgaon. And then while they were going out, they said, no, you are improving, now it's okay. So, okay, then, but he was shifted. Now once he has been shifted to another hospital, which is a very reputed one, so they accepted it because his condition was very good. But after 2 days, they again started telling, no, your situation deteriorating, we need to shift you to ICU. He said, Baba Sahib, what is this happening? Everybody is now, previously I was good, now they're threatening me. And then there is a commercial get involved. How do we deal with such social stigmas on patients who are financially current and they are being exploited? And in that environment, where the role of palliative care comes into be that we make our patient very strong so that they can bear this with a bold face. That is one question which is hitting my mind. If you can develop that. Thank you.
So very honestly speaking, I cannot speak on behalf of other organizations, but I do not say or deny your experience as a false experience, because unfortunately such things are happening. There is no point denying that. But again, like I said, information is power for people also. So if a person himself knows that, I am having cough, I am having fever, okay, I'm not able to eat anything, I'm not feeling comfortable at home, then you know that yes, I need to be shifted to a hospital. Similarly, you should know that, okay, if oxygen has been started, I'm getting better every day, my fever is coming better, the amount of oxygen that was being given to me is getting reducing. So these are markers which tell, physical markers which tell that you are on the right track. Simultaneously, if every day you say that yes, I am able to eat better than yesterday, I was able to go to the washroom today, while yesterday I was being assisted to. So these are certain functional milestones by which you can assess yourself that yes, you are on the right track or you are deteriorating. So in that case, it will give you a fair amount of strength to say. And very honestly, you're right that the more confused a person is and the more clueless they appear about their own selves, there are chances that somebody might exploit them. So first is to be confident yourself that if I am getting all right in this way, I must be getting all right. You know, in because now distance has become no factor in treating people. One of my patients, he is in Orissa, and he recovered from COVID recently. So he had gotten all right, and briefly for about 3 days, I had shifted him to a hospital. He came back, and around 11 o'clock or so at night, I got a call from his son that मैडम सब ठीक चल रहा था पर अभी एकदम से वो खराब हो गया. मैंने कहा क्या खराब हो गया? कहता वो 80% saturation दिखा रहे हैं. And I was like, and how's your father doing? And he's like, अभी आप पापा से बात कीजिए ना, वो यहाँ साथ ही बैठे हैं. And I was like, you can't be 80% saturation and sitting quietly and talking to me. So I said, are you sure your probe is working well? And he was not ready with it. He was like, मुझे कुछ दिखाना है. तो मैंने कहा आप उनको emergency ले जाओ, वहां पर आप उनकी एक बार ऑक्सीजन सैचुरेशन चेक करा लो. मैं कहा ये पॉसिबल ही नहीं है कि आपकी 80% रिफ्लेक्ट कर रहा हो ऑक्सीमीटर और आप मुझसे इस तरीके से बात कर रहे हो. And ultimately this is what happened. So ultimately we have to give confidence to each other. Patient has to believe that they are getting all right. Doctors have to be very fair. And it is actually very important because there is such a huge load of patients that as soon as somebody gets all right or they can be managed at home, they should immediately be shifted home, so that that unit also gets stabilized in their place and the next person who is badly in need of actual hospitalization receives the service.
So,
Right.
I would
Thank
also
you.
like to add one thing, if I may add. Sir was asking like where the palliative care comes in. So the moment somebody is diagnosed with COVID, palliative care comes in, because it's all about the shared decision making and to give you the right choices to make. So it's very important that the day you got your report as positive, you contact your doctor. Good if it is a palliative care physician, and they will be there to guide you about every aspect, every alternative treatment which you could have, and then it is your right to choose from there rather than expecting everything from the doctor.
No, I fully agree with you. The moment you are attached with any life-threatening disease, palliative
Exactly.
care comes in. And
Exactly.
whether you do it yourself or somebody helps you, but palliative care comes in the moment anybody go or attached with any life-threatening thing. Thank you.
मैं ये बताना चाहूँगा, मैं बड़ी खुशी है कि डॉक्टर पारुल का पेशेंट रहा हूँ मैं कोविड का, और पावर ग्रिड के जितने भी कोविड पेशेंट थे डॉक्टर पारुल ने ही ठीक किए हैं, और बहुत प्यार से और बहुत ही अलग अंदाज से. तो हम लोगों को बहुत मॉरल सपोर्ट डॉक्टर पारुल से मिला हमको, सारे कंपनीज के जितने भी पेशेंट थे और बाकी भी पेशेंट्स. तो इसलिए स्पेशली शी हैज ए प्रैक्टिकल एक्सपीरियंस हाउ टू डील ऑल काइंड ऑफ थिंग्स. Thank you, Dr. Paul.
That was visible in our deliberations. Thank you.
So, Dr. Parul, there is one last question for you, please. So how much oxygen saturation is the question, and in which finger to put it to know that what is your exact saturation level and what is the limit of that?
Normally, more than 95% saturation is good enough. And if a patient is being treated at home with COVID and they don't have any comorbidities, and even if it comes up till say around 93 or so, I feel confident in treating them at home. But if it's a vulnerable population, there the upper limit is just 95. The moment it goes beyond 95, it's around 94, 93, I like to get them into a hospital setting where they can have oxygen support. And usually just putting it on the index finger is good enough. All fingers are fine. On all the fingers, you're able to access your saturation values. But usually for the sake of comfort and the fit of the pulse oximeter, we advise it on the index finger.
Wherever it fits in.
So, but excuse me, but I find that different fingers gives different result. This is my observation.
Actually, it depends upon the diameter which you sense, because it is sensor based. The more the area it sends, it averages out in a more better way. So that's why your finger should properly touch it surrounding the whole sensor. That's the purpose.
Thank you.
And I think so China instrument is reflecting a different kind of parameters. And don't believe in a Chinese product. So you believe on the Indian product. It is just for a laughing sake. Okay.
No, I find
Right, so-
that Dr. Parul, excuse me, I find Dr. Parul is more a psychologist than a doctor.
Yeah. So that's the reason she's a very famous in our organizations, man.
Because I find her that half of the disease gone only by the consultation.
Yes.
And I find that always she is never in the parents mode with the consultation with the patient.
And so this is the first time that I'm interacting with her, and I feel that myself, that she is she has given me positivity. So I mean, a commendable. I feel
she's
like
very famous for.
yeah. So I feel like this was so much of information for me, and in such a right attitude. So I feel enlightened today.
Even मैं ये बताना चाहूंगा, I just want to tell you कि आप रात को भी 12 बजे 1 बजे कोई भी इमरजेंसी किसी को भी होती है, not me, my पावर ग्रिड फैमिलीज में, तो वो इतना कंफर्ट होता है कि इनसे बात करने लगता है, और मैडम उसको 5-7 मिनट इतने अच्छे से समझाती हैं, यू कांट बिलीव इट.
नहीं, सबसे बात है कि she just acts as if she is your daughter. इतना आधा बीमारी तो वही ठीक हो जाता है डॉक्टर.
आधी बीमारी वहीं ठीक हो जाती है.
Let us give a round of applause to Dr. Parul.
Yes,
She has
please.
given us our friend. Yeah.
And also especially Dr. Saima also. She is a really social worker.
I think I am also still learning from Dr. Parul. She is the backbone of my organization, and without her, I would not have been able to do what I'm doing right now.
नहीं,
So all applause to her.
I thank her for anchoring also, questioning good question and right time for as a facilitator.
Yes, and also feeling
Thank you,
very
sir.
empowered because it was a total women show. So thank you.
We did
for
have
having us.
Mr. Dondial with us.
Yeah, but you were the moderator and we were the panelist. So it was more
Thank you so
listening.
much. So it was
No,
very
no,
good
it
having with
is our duty to keep a balance. We do not want to go in one direction. Thank you.
And I request to everyone, if you would like to connect with Dr. Parul and Dr. Saima, you please connect me. Connect to our program director, Mr. Baba, our young team, Mr. Shubham and Mr. Tanvi, Miss Tanvi, and our Akshat Chopra.
All right. Mr. Naresh has also done a wonderful job of organizing such a social cause events, which is helping a lot.
Definitely, sir. Naresh sir has been so positive himself, because I remember interacting with him when he was, infected. He had just tested negative of COVID. So he was so energetic and he was so passionate to talk about it and, spread information, because a lot of people want to hold that information back and not share their journey. He was so forthcoming in sharing all of his experiences. So it is really commendable that he talks about it and gives inspiration to others also.
Yeah, at that time, then the COVID patient was known as a VIP patient.
It's
And
good. It's good.
Harshita organized an interview with Times of India.
Yeah.
Harshita.
Yeah. I remember that. Sir.
Yeah, you remember that.
Yeah. So thank you so much, everyone. Especially Dr. Parul, Dr. Saima, Dondial sir. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining us today. And it was a very wonderful session. I'm sure everyone is taking back due knowledge on this subject, and we are going to work forward to spread information around this topic. Thank you so much for enlightening us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.